everybody, and welcome back to Active Quest. This is episode 30. I'm your host, Joseph Yaden, and joining me today is Mr. Josh Nichols. Hello, Josh.
Hey, how you doing?
Well, as we... Are you sure you want to ask that? As we just discussed, I'm in a little bit of pain. I'll tell you guys about it a little later, I guess. But other than that, I'm bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. And joining me as well is Chris Penwell. How's it going, Chris?
I'm doing excellent. Thank you very, very much for asking.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you back. Yeah, we missed you last week.
Yeah.
We held down the fort, barely.
Thank you very much.
It was like a house that's on fire, and we just put a Band-Aid over it.
No, it wasn't like that.
But we missed you. What was going on last week? I forget. You said it was work related, right?
Yeah. So I just got a new job, and I just couldn't get away from it because it was a training shift. Just going through the transitional period. I will be away in 2 weeks' time, I believe. But from then on, I'll try to be on as much as possible. But most weeks, I'll be on.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, like I mentioned last week, you got to eat. So...
Exactly. Yeah.
It's so no worries. But anyway, it's good for all of us to be here today. And one thing you always hear is that after E3, it kind of dies down a little bit when it comes to news. But I don't know if as you can tell by the run of show, it's crazy. I mean, nothing major. Although Nintendo keeps just like. Nintendo's wild, man. I don't even know. So we'll talk about some more Nintendo stuff. We've got...
I just wanted to address Comic-Con, too, and just let our listeners
obviously,
know.
Yeah.
There were all kinds of awesome things, and those are things that we'd love to talk about, but it's like, there's already the main point of the show of being games, and there's already a lot of news on that, on top of it being stuff we don't really cover, but like also like we already have too much to cover as it is. Yeah, lots of cool stuff. We're all into that stuff. Lots of cool stuff.
And also, there was leaked footage of the Avengers game that somebody captured on their phone, or I don't know, maybe it wasn't a phone, but it looked like it. But anyway, I don't really want to like dive too far into that, just because the whole like leaking thing and like promoting that, I guess. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like on PlayStation Lifestyle, we covered that story, and I had to run it by the editor-in-chief. I'm like, hey, is this actually okay? Because I don't want to get in trouble with Square about this or whatever. So I don't know.
It's almost like a pirated movie. Like you're like, hey, we saw some of this, and we'll talk about it, even though you're not really supposed to even see that.
Yeah. So I don't
really want to.
Though, oh, go ahead.
As a journalist, it's your duty to reveal stuff or just to report on things, right?
Right.
So it's not really your fault if someone leaks that footage. You have to report it, right? That's your duty as a journalist to do.
Yeah, I think that's fair, and that's why I'm like mentioning it, at least like just saying, hey, there was leaked footage. You can go find it if you want, but I totally.
If you want to go find it, it's not too hard to find. We just feel weird posting a link.
I do.
But if you want to see it, and if you want to be even less interested than you already were, like me, go watch it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. They should just release it at this point, I think, because it's been seen so much.
Oh, the footage. Yeah, it's supposed to come out after Gamescom sometime in September. Yeah. But anyway, in terms of for the rest of the show, like I mentioned, Nintendo's in the news. We'll talk about that. June's NPD results came out. Some interesting facts about Marvel's Spider-Man. A bunch of other stories. I mean, Luigi's Mansion got a release date. The uPlay Plus games lineup was revealed, which I think is a really good lineup. And then a couple other stories. Blizzard's co-founder left the company after 28 years, which is wild. And then we'll get into some listener questions and talk about what we've been playing. I've been playing some Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 on the Switch.
I'm so excited to hear you talk about that.
Yeah, it's definitely a video game. But yeah, we'll talk about that. And then, Chris, you've been playing this game called Teppen that I have really no idea what even that is, but
interesting.
I look forward to your thoughts. And then Judgment, it looks like you've been playing too, and I'm really excited to hear you talk about that because that's one that's been on my radar. I just haven't had a chance to
I was surprised by it. That's all I'll say for now. You have to stay tuned.
Yeah. And then, Josh, it looks like you've been playing a lot of the same from last week, so hopefully you'll have a little bit more to report back on some of those titles. Cool. All right. Oh, I almost forgot the most important thing.
Yep.
Oh, God. Okay.
There we go.
There it is.
There it is.
I like the idea that like a new listener is checking it out and they're just like, what is that joke? I don't understand. So maybe we should just fill it. It's not really a joke. It's just we drink LaCroix. That's it. That's the joke.
I'm drinking Diet Coke because Nick Scarpino cursed me with this.
What? What did he do? What did he?
He has a thing on. He has a thing on kind of funny where he's just addicted to Diet Coke, and now I've got that affliction as well.
Well, you're not stooping as low as Josh and I.
You're drinking that spicy water.
Yeah, because you've expressed your disdain for LaCroix on several occasions. Okay.
Except the apricot flavor. That's good.
Yeah, I like the flavor where it doesn't fucking get all over my monitor. Holy shit. I gotta like do it away from the monitor. Oh my god.
Context.
All right. Anyway, if you guys are ready, let's hop into some news. Alright, so, as you guys may recall, last week, Nintendo announced a new Switch model called the Nintendo Switch Lite. And for those who don't know, it's a smaller version of the Switch, a portable version. You can't take away the Joy-Cons. It doesn't dock to a TV, a little bit longer of a battery life, and it's less expensive. It's $200. So everybody was like, okay, that's the new Nintendo Switch model. Awesome. Well, turns out, literally a week later, they announced another new Nintendo Switch model, although it's not what you might expect. So this model is it's replacing the base model. It's going to be the same price, and the main feature is that it has a longer battery life. So the old Nintendo, or like the old base Nintendo Switch, its battery life was between 2.5 and 6.5 hours, which is a pretty long range. If you ask me.
I don't know how somebody gets 6.5 hours battery life.
Maybe if you're playing like the NES games on it, you know.
I have no idea.
Yeah, but anyway, this new model it's going to have between 4.5 and 9 hours of battery life, which is like really noticeable. Actually, I think that's
That's a good increase in battery for no price difference.
Yeah, and so I guess the thing I wanted to ask you guys is, well, Chris, you don't actually own a Switch, do you? Like, you have your roommate has one or something?
I don't.
Okay, yep. Well, so for you, this actually might be a great opportunity to get a Switch because now that's just the base model. But I guess the question I had is, like, for users who already have one, like, what is the motivation to get another one? Is there even a motivation to get another one? So that's what I wanted to ask you, Josh, I guess, since you're the only other one who has a Switch.
It maybe, and I say that because I've got a launch model. Mine's the one we got, like, at release, you know,
yeah.
with Zelda and Bomberman and whatnot. So maybe, but my maybe, there's a little bit more information to my maybe, and that's I also have stick drift happening on my left Joy-Con a little bit. And so it's like, I already need to replace the Joy-Cons anyway. Maybe I'll just trade the entire, maybe I'll just buy this new model and then just, trade that one in.
That's a good point. Yeah. But yeah, I mean...
My wife has the Pokemon one, so there's no way.
Oh, no.
That thing is so swanky.
Yeah. But yeah, like for you, Chris, does this entice you to buy a base model of the Switch, or were you more leaning towards the Lite version, or not getting one at all? What are your thoughts?
I'm trying to figure it out. I think I'll be getting the normal Switch that's coming out, like with the larger battery life. Yeah. I think I might as well just wait and save up. That's my plan right now. I'm excited to get a Switch of my own that I can take around with me, take anywhere I want, to the mall or.
And yours would actually be portable.
Like, I'm excited.
See,
yeah.
Mine and Joseph's aren't really portable because the battery life is so bad.
Right.
Yeah.
But honestly, to me, like, as someone who just plays it at home, it's not too big of a deal for me because I play it in short bursts, So I play it like an hour and a half, 2 hours of Smash, and then I've had enough. So I just put it down on the dock and it charges again. So it's not a big deal for me.
Yeah. If you're just playing it at home and you don't really take it with you, then the battery's it's not noticeable. It's just I've taken it with me somewhere that takes up like a third of the space in my backpack, and then it's like I get there, my battery's at 78% because I forgot to charge it, and then like how long do I get to play it?
Right.
You know? So sometimes I'll be about to bring it and I'm like, no.
Yeah, like I was playing Marvel Ultimate Alliance at work the other day, and I it was like just starting to get good, and then it was like dying. I'm like, like, God damn it, I just started. What the hell? So, yeah, I think that's a good point. One final thing to note before we move on this is it's supposed to be coming out sometime mid-August. Nintendo didn't really give like a solid release date on that, which is kind of unusual. But
I just want to say something really quick, too, that I think this is interesting, because I've seen people say, like, Nintendo doesn't usually do these, like, sneaky little silent kind of updates where, like, it's not really a different SKU or anything. It's just a slight, Anyway, I just want to say they did this with the Game Boy Advance SP. There was the AGS -001 and then AGS -101, and for the SKUs or whatever, the serial numbers would end in that. I think is what it was, the model number. But anyway, what it was is the 101 had the truly backlit screen instead of the front lit screen, and then like the battery life was a little better. So I just think it's neat they're doing that again, because I don't think they've done this since then.
Yeah. And then the other quick thing, and kind of tied into this, is the new Joy-Con that are coming out. There are 2 new sets. Those will be coming out October 14th, and they'll retail.
Those look sharp too.
Yeah.
I like those blue and yellows.
Yeah, they do. They're going to retail for $80. So there's 2 sets. There's one, it's purple and orange, and then the other one is blue and neon yellow. And yeah, those are really cool. And actually, what's interesting is I think Nintendo's sort of like acknowledging, the Joy-Con drift issue that a lot of people have been having. And honestly, I'm surprised we haven't seen more Joy-Con. So that you can look forward to that. The end of the year for Nintendo is going to be really awesome. Pokemon, Luigi's Mansion.
This whole year,
it's insane.
Yeah. Cool. So let's move on here. I'm a nerd with this kind of thing, so I just wanted to touch on the NPD results for the month of June. And let me get it. Okay, I'll just read through the top 10 NPD games, best-selling games for the month of June. Keep in mind, these are sorted by dollar sales, not number of units sold. And actually, before I do that, if there was a game, like one SKU of one game that costs like just like 1,000 or whatever, like a crazy amount of money, like wasn't there like a Dead Island or Dying Light or something, one of those games where the collector's edition was like thousands of dollars? Do you guys remember that? Where you got like a fort, like a fortress, like a zombie fortress, or like there was another, I can't remember. There is some collector's editions that are just like outlandish and they cost like hundreds of thousands of dollars or something crazy. Anyway, if somebody bought that, it would like have like a leg up on the NPD results. Anyway, I just thought of that. Okay, here are the top 10 games in order. Super Mario Maker 2, Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled, Mortal Kombat 11, Grand Theft Auto 5, which is just unreal to me, Minecraft, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, Marvel's Spider-Man, NBA 2K19, Mario Kart 8. According to this result, it says Mario Kart 8. It doesn't say Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, but I assume they either lump 8 and 8 Deluxe together, or this is 8 Deluxe, because there's no way just Mario Kart 8 on the Wii U.
Yeah.
It's probably Deluxe, because Deluxe is like actually like the top selling game on the Switch too.
It's just this report here from VentureBeat doesn't say Deluxe, but anyway. And then Days Gone. So not really a whole lot of surprises there. Are there any that jump out at you guys?
Yeah, Crash Team Racing, I think, at number 2, right? Mm-hmm. You said that is due to the monetary sales, and like that's at a cheaper price point, right? From the usual $60. So that's a good thing for Crash fans. I think that the Crash Team Racing is doing well. Maybe we'll get a new CTR or a new Crash Bandicoot. I know Activision said that Crash and Spyro are like premier franchises for them now. So
yeah, they did say that.
Maybe we'll see some more stuff.
Yeah, so I'm with you on that. Like, yeah, obviously the sales have been really awesome, and so that might warrant a new entry in that series. But they're kind of treating Crash Team Racing Nitro Fueled as almost like a games of service. Not quite, but almost like that, where constant updates and all these events. Well, like that gets kind of weird, like. What, they just drop support for it one day to support the sequel? I mean, I guess that's not unheard of, but...
No, it's not unheard of. Fighting games do that all the time.
Destiny does it.
Yeah,
They
Destiny.
eventually stopped supporting the first Destiny.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I suppose... Yeah, I guess so. Maybe after a couple years. I'm just kind of thinking...
And on top of that, it's not like you're pouring, like, actual money into the game for a year or two and then jumping over like Destiny.
That's true. That's a good point. Yeah, because in Destiny you like put all this time and money into this character, and then the new game comes out and you have to start from scratch. Whereas in Crash Team Racing, it's not really set up like that. So yeah, I guess that's a fair point. How long do you guys think they'll support it though before moving on to another entry?
I would say
a year.
Yeah, that's probably fair. The only other one that that jumped out at me, obviously Grand Theft Auto 5 is just absurd. I mean, it's on the top NPD list every month, so I guess it shouldn't be surprising. But I mean, that game came out on PS3 and 360.
I'm not too surprised though. Yeah. Because I was around EB Games or GameStop around here, and they were selling Grand Theft Auto 5 for $20, and it comes with some in-game money as well. So it's like that special edition that they have. So that's a really good deal for those who want to get into GTA Online still.
Right, that's for the online mode, the cash, and then a couple other basketball, which I guess isn't surprising. Days Gone at number 10. Man, that what's interesting about Days Gone is as much flack as that game has gotten, which I really don't think is deserved. I think that game's actually pretty good. It's been doing well in terms of sales. So I'm sure
word of mouth probably.
Yeah, exactly. And
I did see a little bit of what I call the crackdown effect, though, where there was enough people complaining about the game that I feel like there was like way more fans being vocal than you normally would see. Yeah. Like for positive too. Like I keep people say it's their game of the year, and I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah,
that's what Chris
it's
said
a good
as well,
game,
right?
Like it's not a bad game, but it's not like. It's not a 10 out of 10 game. It's a Far Cry game.
Yeah, what did you say?
That's what Chris Souza said, right? Back a few weeks ago when we had him on. He's the head of Pixel River PR. And he said that, like, bad press is good press, right? If your if your game is being covered a lot, like Days Gone has been, it was a big kind of controversy, big discussion over that. That means more sales, and that's evidence of that.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, that's fair. And honestly, I think that game's fine. Like, I really don't think it deserves a 5 out of 10 or whatever the fuck. So
no, I think it's a 7.
Yeah, which is fine.
Nothing wrong with a 7.
So
some of my favorite games are 7s.
Yeah. Let's keep it with the NPD results here. We're going to move on a little bit, though, to kind of a different side of things. So Matt Piscatella of the NPD group, he's really awesome. If you aren't following him on Twitter, please do, because he always posts really interesting stats. And a couple weeks ago, he started like asking people questions like, hey, what facts do you want to know? Like, what sales results do you want to know? And somebody asked him about superhero games. And he listed the top 10 superhero games in order, best-selling games. And the number one best-selling superhero game is Marvel's Spider-Man, which, okay, maybe you might expect that. But what's really interesting about that is that Marvel's Spider-Man is only on PS4, whereas every other game on this list is multi-platform. So the rest of the list, Arkham City...
That's crazy.
Right? Yeah. So Arkham City, Arkham Knight, Lego Batman, Lego Marvel Superheroes, Spider-Man the movie, that's the Sam Raimi movie, Spider-Man the movie 2, the sequel to that, Injustice Gods Among Us, Arkham Asylum, and Injustice 2. So think about all those games, and even a lot of those games are not only multi-platform, but cross-generational. So think of all the platforms.
This is a good thing for that genre of games in general, too, because when Marvel and Sony were discussing this game happening, they told Sony they wanted this to be treated as a first-party exclusive and receive the same kind of care and attention.
Right.
And I'm sure that was part of the deal, of course, but I'm just saying, like, this game got, like, first-party, funding and support, so I'm sure that this will increase the budget. They're going to see, like, oh, if we pour more money into the budget for this, genre, we're going to see, bigger and better superhero games. Like, what I'm saying is Arkham City's fantastic, but how great is it that we can go from, like, that being the best fighting or best superhero game to being, like, just an average superhero game, just simply because the genre is just going to keep going up and up and up,
In terms of
I would
quality,
say as well that Spider-Man is, like, the first superhero game, like, with a protagonist you can relate to. I think that's a big thing that is made its success, you know. And Spider-Man as well has had a varied history in video games, so I think it makes sense that Spider-Man's on top. But it's kind of interesting as well because we did a poll this week, and it's very divided. We call it a Battle of the Week, and we did that on our Twitter page at Active Quest Show. And there were 19 votes. 47% were towards DC, and 53% was towards Marvel. So we're seeing this big surge of, from the MCU, Spider-Man, that kind of stuff, into Marvel games, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's next from them.
Yeah, that was a fascinating poll because you're right, it was so close, but people were really passionate on either side, you know. The best-selling game of 2019 is one that you might not expect. It is Tom Clancy's The Division 2. And the reason I guess I thought that was unexpected is just because you haven't really, or at least I haven't heard a whole lot of buzz surrounding that game. Like, it came out, it reviewed well. People said that it worked at launch, which is great. But, like, you just don't really hear about it.
I've seen Andrew Reiner from Game Informer and Greg Miller from Kind of Funny raving about it all year, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So it's got really good staying power, too, which I'm sure has led to good word-of-mouth sales.
Right. Yeah.
That Tom Clancy series is doing so well for Ubisoft. And we saw that at E3, like, it's mostly Tom Clancy games now, and this is why. And like, yeah, exactly. But Ghost Recon Wildlands was a big hit for Ubisoft as well, and we didn't hear much in the gaming sphere for that game. So I think this has kind of got that Call of Duty, Madden kind of effect, where the general kind of gamer is playing this game and they're enjoying it because they're playing it with their friends.
I love Siege and The Division from what I've played is good. You know, I'm down with that, and I'm also of course happy for people that like the games. But I do wish that kind of effect you referred to would kind of turn down a little bit, because like I also want more Rayman games, and I want more original IPs from Ubisoft. I want to see that creativity. They're very creative. Yeah, they're a very creative company, and I want to see them experiment more like they used to in the past.
Well, while Tom Clancy games are doing so well, why don't we get a fucking Splinter Cell game up in here? How about that?
I can't believe that we haven't, honestly. I was really expecting an announcement at E3.
Because it isn't a live service game. That's why.
It could be. I mean, not that I'm advocating for that, but it totally could be.
They could make one and it could still be good.
Yeah, like they could do like a single player version, and where it's just what you'd expect, and then have like a multiplayer component. I don't know, like.
In fact, that could, if it's separate, that could be really cool too.
Mm-hmm.
I heard it has a really cool multiplayer mode.
The Spies versus Mercs.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Anyway, that's just me venting about Splinter Cell. So yeah, that was some NPD stuff. Let's move on here. This is kind of one of the bigger stories I wanted to touch on. So there's a convention coming up called Gamescom. It's the biggest of the year in terms of attendance. Like, it's something like, God, I can't remember, I can't remember. I'm going to have to look it up. But there's like a lot of people, way more than E3, that show up to this event. It's in Cologne, Germany, and it takes place from August 20th to August 24th. Well, the big story is that both Microsoft and Sony are going to attend, which is interesting because we haven't seen both of them at the same event in quite some time. Even like at last year's E3, Microsoft hasn't really been at E3 in terms of like in the building. They've always had their off-site area in the Microsoft Theater where they've got all their games and stuff. So the fact that they're both going to be in the same building is kind of interesting. And to me, it's like I think of like competition and that kind of thing. I mean, what do you guys make of this? Is Sony starting to jump back into the convention space, and does that mean they have more to talk about? Because clearly, if they're going to be there, they must have something, right?
I think that they probably saw the reaction to them skipping E3 and probably thought, well, let's talk, because I think they have stuff to talk about. I think they just chose not to.
They have some more stuff.
Yeah, they might have some more stuff to talk about now.
Honestly, hopefully their entire show is dedicated to Medieval. That's what they should do, but if
I don't know that they would do that.
No, they need to. I want every second of it to be all but Medieval. Joseph, I already have that day requested off from work. Okay, it's October 25th.
To play Call of Duty, right?
No, to play Medieval from start to finish in one sitting.
Never heard of it. Chris, Chris, what were you saying?
Yeah, they have more stuff in the pipeline now. I don't think those games are ready to be shown during E3. You know, this is going to be in August, so it's 2 months later. They'll have Medieval to show. They'll have Concrete Genie. They'll have a bunch of stuff that Ghost. What's the
Ghost of Tsushima.
Ghost of Tsushima. You know,
Yeah.
maybe Last of Us 2 could be shown there because it's rumored to be an early 2020 game, right? So I don't know. Maybe we'll see something coming up from.
Maybe we'll get more footage of The Last of Us Part 2, which would be great.
Yeah.
Don't get your hopes up though.
And I just checked. So Gamescom is the world's largest gaming event measured by exhibition space and number of visitors, with 370,000 visitors and 1,037 exhibitors from 56 different countries. I didn't know it was that many. I was going to say something like 100,000, but either way, it totally dwarfs the amount of people that go to E3. That's why when you hear people say, "Oh, E3 is the biggest convention in the world in terms of gaming," maybe in terms of significance, yes, but in terms of attendance, Gamescom blows it out of the water.
Something to keep in mind as well is that it's easier to get around Europe. You know, in North America, we have PAX, but it's so difficult to access for most people because it's such a big continent, right? But at Cologne, you know, you could take a train from London, you could take a train from Paris, you know, it's easy to get to.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point. All the countries are really close together, or they're all within maybe an hour or a couple hours within each other. Yeah. Yeah, the last thing I wanted to say, too, about Sony being at Gamescom. So I don't know if you guys listen to Sacred Symbols. It's Colin Moriarty's podcast. And I know a lot of people don't like him, but he knows his shit. Anyway, he's been talking about this game that Sony still has that they haven't announced yet. So I wonder if we'll see that there. And he said it's like a significant game that you know, obviously he can't say anything.
He knew about Horizon before it came out, so maybe it's a new Guerrilla game. Perhaps a new Killzone?
I don't know. I don't know that it would. I don't know. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. But anyway, just keep that in mind. There is still like one sort of major, and I think maybe it might be on the same level as Medieval.
And hey, if you're an X-boy like me, we still have Xbox Experience this year too in London, which was where we'll probably get some more information on some UK-based Xbox developers like
Fable.
Fable, yeah.
Oh my god,
Fable.
Yeah.
So.
Fable.
Yeah. So we'll have to see what happens with that. I'm keeping my hopes down to a minimum, just because.
For sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I do that in my life.
Yeah,
you don't want to get too hyped,
right?
You know?
Because then you'll be disappointed.
My one request for Sony for Gamescom is to see smaller games, smaller titles that are really interesting. But because we haven't really seen much of those over the last few years. I mentioned this before, but like Ready Set Heroes is probably the only kind of Sony title that's like tight, small. Maybe Concrete Genie.
I also want a Sony multiplayer game.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Mm-hmm. I think they need that just to compete with the rest of them, you know. So let's move on here. This is one that I just find fascinating. So at E3, Ubisoft announced their It's uPlay Plus, their subscription service, because everybody and their dog has a subscription service now. So it's on PC only. Yeah, it's on PC only right now. But I imagine it should come to consoles, maybe.
I'm surprised it's not. I mean, I really am, because I mean,
well,
it's not like they're not on console already.
Yeah,
you know, other kinds of
Yeah, but you have to think like something like what's EA Play or EA
Access.
EA Access. Oh yeah, that took a while to come to consoles. You know, so
no, that was on Xbox forever.
Well, yeah, but I think didn't it launch on PC and then it came.
No, I don't think so.
Well, it was opposite. Yeah, it was first on Xbox and then it came to PC.
Oh, interesting.
That was on Xbox forever.
Yep. Well, then never mind to what I said. Although I will say that it did take a while to come to PS4 for whatever reason.
Yes.
Well, that's just because Sony is living on their own little sandbox on a hill, saying we don't need anyone.
Yeah. Well, if that's the case, if it did come out on Xbox originally, then yeah, I don't understand this. But anyway, so you play.
Sorry, I'm just angry. I'm sorry.
No,
I just want this on Xbox.
No,
and
yeah,
PlayStation.
I totally understand. So you play Plus. There's dozens and dozens of games, like so many games. I'm not going to read all of them, but you pay.
It's over 100 though. It's a fucking lot.
Yeah, so you pay X amount of dollars. It's $14.99 a month. Or hold on, uPlay is it's. Let me read this here. uPlay is packed with new releases in the first 12 months for only $14.99 a month. Yeah, so you pay $14.99 a month, and then you get all these games. So games like all the Assassin's Creeds, Black Flag, Odyssey, Origins, Revelations.
It also includes new releases too, which is like what?
Yeah, all the Far Cries, the new Gods and Monsters that's coming out. That new game that looks really cool. Prince of Persia, Rayman, I guess, since there's multiple of them. What else? The Crew. The new Ghost Recon game, Breakpoint, that'll be launching on there. The new Rainbow Six game, Quarantine.
It's like everything Ubi's ever done.
Like all their,
and also worth pointing out, it includes the deluxe versions of the games, too.
Yep. All the Splinter Cells, all the Watch Dogs, all 2 of them. Trials, like notable games. So yeah, I hope this comes to console. That's like my main.
I'm at least gonna sign up for a few months when it comes out because I've got a friend that wants to play Breakpoint with me, and for that kind of game, I might not play it after like a month or 2. You know, the kind of game it's gonna be. So like, it might be good for me to just do that. And
you have no excuse now if you get that subscription service. Play Beyond Good and Evil, for God's sake.
Oh yeah, it's on there.
Oh yeah,
it's on there. Yeah. Yeah. So I wanted to touch on that just because I thought the lineup was really good, and I'm really hoping it comes to consoles. So quick story here. We got a release date for Luigi's Mansion 3. The notable thing about this is that it is releasing on October 31st, which is Halloween, which I guess makes sense. But
yes.
It's on a Thursday. You don't see games released on a Thursday, at least not.
Usually it's Fridays and like Sundays and sometimes Tuesdays.
Sunday, I don't know about Sunday. It's usually Tuesday and Friday.
Nintendo usually always does Sunday releases.
Oh, they have done Sunday releases, actually. Yeah, I do remember that back in the day. But lately, it's either been Tuesday or Friday. So, yeah, I just thought that was weird, a Thursday release. Makes total sense, though. I think I'm so excited about that. Josh, you were really excited about Luigi's Mansion, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, this is like a day one buy. I'm so excited. Like the story mode is going to be really cool, but like also the scare scraper is going to be really like just everything about it. I'm excited about. This is a system seller, I think, too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I do too. Chris, are you excited about Luigi's Mansion?
I have to admit, this is one of my favorite games coming up from Nintendo, and I'm surprised. I've never really played Luigi's Mansion before. It hasn't really appealed to me before, but this one seems so inventive. I've played my roommate play the original, and it seems really cool. So yeah, like I'm interested in playing the third game, and I'm excited for its release.
Yeah, and I think that's a really smart move to put it out on Halloween. Okay, a couple more stories here, and then we'll get into some listener questions. So this is one from PlayStation Lifestyle. This is from Brianna Reeves. A Way Out and Detroit Become Human devs say Twitch and YouTube actually help sales. And before we actually get into the story, here, let's get into the story and then we'll talk about it afterwards. So the 2 developers were at a talk at Game Lab at Barcelona, and that's Joseph Ferris of Haze Light from A Way Out, and then David Cage, Quantum Theory. What is it? Quantum Dream.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Quantic Dream. Yeah.
Jesus. All right. So they were talking. So Cage said, quote, we can never count exactly how many endings there were to Detroit. It was not about the endings. It was about having a different path leading to different endings. The journey itself is different, and different characters can be present or be dead or make different moral choices and be in different situations by the end. So this is in regards to, like, all their different branching paths, and people like to watch the endings and watch the different paths and on YouTube or Twitch. And for a game like that, it really makes sense because you want to see all the different outcomes. And then, Cage just sort of went on and started talking about the community. He said, quote, what we realized is the very positive impact this had on the community, on the sales of the game. In the past, YouTubers were very problematic for us because players were watching those videos thinking, okay, I've got the story. I don't need to play the game. I know what it's about. with Detroit, the opposite happened. They were showing one walkthrough, but they couldn't show all of the things that happened in all of the branches. Players watching thought, quote, I wish he'd done this. Suddenly they became our allies, and they helped us to promote the game. So I wanted to stop there. That's an interesting point, but what it says to me is that from a developer point of view, that must mean that they have to make all these different branching paths, and it's like crazy a lot of work, like if for this method to work, right? Because if it's like Walking Dead or whatever, where it's just one story, yeah, people watch it on YouTube and never talk about it again, or never consider buying it. Whereas with this, yeah, I mean, I don't know if listeners out there have played Detroit, but there are a lot of branching paths, a lot. Like at the end of each level, you get like all the possible outcomes, and it's really cool. But my God, I mean, just from a developer point of view, it's a lot of work. And then one last thing here, and then we'll talk about it. Joseph Ferris of Hazelight said, quote, I remember when it came out, and A Way Out, which was still an indie title, was the #1 game on Twitch. I thought, quote, oh shit, we're fucked. Because, he's a
fuck
sailor.
the Oscars.
Yeah, fuck the Oscars. But then it sold really well because people saw it and wanted to play it. In A Way Out's case, it was because they wanted to experience it with someone who hadn't seen it on Twitch. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I was always of the mind of, sort of, if it's like a story-driven game, that people would watch it on Twitch and not buy it. So this is really interesting to hear sort of the opposite of that. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I remember for a long time, people, you see comments, people say, I'm not going to buy that, I'll just watch somebody play it. But yeah, so it's interesting to see it's the other way around. And I just want to say, too, that even something like Gone Home or like Firewatch, where there might not be as many branching paths, there's still something to be said about, oh, that's how that person experienced it, I want to experience it. So, I don't know,
Yeah, it's weird, especially if you're somebody who's like really into those story-driven games, or if you're a developer who really likes making those story-driven games. It's almost like you can't do it just with one story, because then otherwise people will only watch it on Twitch and then nobody will buy it, So, like I was saying, like you're like almost forced to do all these different branching paths just so people will buy it. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that has any... do you think that's true, Chris?
We saw Assassin's Creed Odyssey do that with its latest entry. We saw branching paths in that game, and I think that's a good thing for the industry and for stories. Making your own stories, making it your own adventure. I love that kind of stuff. And it's unfortunate that YouTube and Twitch kind of takes away from games sometimes. Like, for example, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, when that came out, all the cutscenes were uploaded to YouTube, and then Masahiro Sakurai never did a story mode again because, the story was available online, and he was upset about that, apparently. So, I think the best way to go about this is to embrace Twitch and YouTube and insert mechanics to embrace like replayability and maybe include the audience as well.
Yeah, people want to be social with their games, so just put some social aspects to it, and make it fun to experience to others, and your game will benefit from it.
And also, I'll say that I think Stadia, with its system of like, you can resume the game from the streamer's perspective or the streamer's game, is really interesting, and I think that will help curb.
I forgot about that.
Curb issues like that in the future.
Yeah, I don't know. I'd love to see that in practice. I'm not sure how that's gonna exactly work, but if it works the way it's described, yeah, it's fucking wild. Cool. Yeah. So last story here, and then we'll do some listener questions. This is just a quick one here. Blizzard co-founder Frank Pierce is leaving the company after 28 years. So I've got a story from VG247 here. This is from Stephanie Nunnally. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but yeah, let's see. There's a quote. Just a second. Sorry. Oh, here we go. Quote. This is from Pierce. My time at Blizzard encompasses the entirety of both my professional career and my adult life, reads a statement from Pierce. I have countless fond memories. Working with the best developers in the world on one of the best franchises in the world definitely stands out. Even more prominent are my memories of our first BlizzCon, where I realized the special importance of the people and the communities that had become a part of the experience for our players, end quote. So, Chris, before we started recording here, you mentioned something when we were discussing this story quickly. You were just like, what the hell's going on over there? I don't know if it's something bad is going on. I mean, the guy's been with the company for a really long time. Maybe he's just ready to retire. I don't know. But I think there is something to be said about that where, yeah, there is some weird shit going on over there. I
could see creativity being stifled and more restricted.
Yeah, that could be.
Yeah. And so if they're like, well, if we're just going to be doing this, and things in these areas, then I'm done.
Yeah, and
I can see a shift because for Blizzard, like they had a bunch of layoffs earlier this year. I believe it was this year.
Yeah, it was at the beginning of the year.
Overwatch has kind of stifled a little bit. It's still going strong, but like it's been losing players. We haven't seen many new games from them for a while. And Diablo Eternal kind of had a bad response, so it's kind of a bad time.
Oh no, people
Blizzard.
like that.
But yeah, like I think it's just a transitional period for Blizzard, and I think it's telling that two of the co-founders have left Blizzard now, so there's only one left. So yeah, like it's just that time where like maybe Activision's starting to take over, seeing the possibility for new IPs or maybe an Overwatch sequel, which I would love. I just think Blizzard's in that time where they're like, trying to figure out what they're going to do for the future.
Exactly. What if someday Activision takes Blizzard and does the the whole like Neversoft route? They like close them down and make them make Call of Duty.
That'd be horrible.
Yeah, I hope that's not the case.
That would never happen.
No, I hope not.
That'd be awful. If eventually that's all they did.
Yeah, and one thing too, Pierce, he's not like moving to another company or anything. From this article, it says quote, as far as his future plans are concerned, for now, Pierce said he will spend more time outdoors, learning to play an instrument, and generally quote devote more time to aspects of his life that many not have. What the fuck? I think this is a typo. Anyway, that he couldn't devote time to before.
It's the Switch Lite. The Switch Lite is coming out. And
that's what it is.
I need to play time. I need more time to play the Switch.
Yeah. So he's not like moving to another company. So I don't know. I think maybe he just wanted to retire. But also, yes, there is some weird shit going on at Blizzard. Okay, so that's it for the news. Let's take a break, and then we'll do a few listener questions, and then close the show with what we've been playing. We'll be right back. All right, everybody, we are back. Let's dive into some listener questions here. Let me see here. I've got one pulled here. This is from Bobby Cowdery. I hope I'm saying that right. Oh, and of course, remember, if you want to ask us a question, you can always reach us on Twitter. Every Friday, we post our thread for the next week's questions, and you can just respond to that thread with whatever questions you have, gaming related or not. I guess is fine too. Ask us what our favorite pizza is, or I don't care, anything. But yeah, we want to keep that interaction going. So thank you to everybody who's asked questions. Bobby asks, is the longer battery life on the new Switch model enough to make you potentially trade in, sell your old model for the new model? We kind of covered that already, but we can just reiterate. Actually, I don't know if I answered that before. So yeah, for me, I think yes, it is, because I use my Switch on the go so much that longer battery life is like enticing enough. So yeah, I actually think I might do this.
Yeah, I mean, at minimum, it's 2 hours more. I mean, that's pretty good.
That's significant, yeah. I don't really know about the saves system, like, or your account transferring. Will I have to have both systems with me to do that, Josh? I remember we talked about this.
Probably not. Even on the 3DS, because I lost my 3DS, my original 3DS, and then I just bought an XL. For me to do a system transfer from the 3DS, without the system there, I had to call Nintendo, and I had to give them my email address, and I had to verify a few purchases, and then I gave them the new serial number of the new system. I don't know how it will be in here. I'm just saying, at minimum, they weren't doing that before, where you had to have the system. I don't know about how it works without the system. When my wife got a Switch, before that we only had one, and so we transferred her account, and her saves because of Nintendo Switch Online to the new system. But I'm sure there's a way to do it without the system too.
That would be my only concern, because that was a big pain in the ass with all those 3DSs that would come out. But anyway, to answer your question, Bobby, yes, I would. I think I'm gonna buy one. Josh, you said maybe it's a maybe.
Yeah,
for you?
yeah, well, yeah, no, for me it's definitely yes, because
okay.
I have to replace my controllers anyway.
Right.
You know.
And then Chris, you don't have one, but you said you're gonna be getting one. You said you'll be getting one. Yeah. Okay.
Do you think this is the Switch Pro, like the Switch Pro type leak that was revealed, or do you think we're still going to see something like that?
No, I still think we'll see a Switch Pro, because this upgrade here is just for the battery life. It has nothing to do with the like specs in terms of processing or anything like that.
Right.
It's good. Yeah. It's gonna have to, especially with the new systems coming out next year. We're gonna have to see a new Pro.
And Nintendo likes to do like mid-cycle updates anyway. They've always done that.
Yeah. Cool. So
with handhelds. Yeah.
Yeah. So we've got 2 questions here from Chris Ranta. Ranta. Okay. First
He's
question.
my roommate.
Oh, okay. Well, hello. How do you say it one more time?
Ranta.
All right. So Chris Ranta asks, what is your favorite movie tie-in game, and why is it the Charlie's Angels one? Let's see. For me, I really liked the Wolverine Origins game.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, that game was fun.
Yeah. I didn't like the movie, but the game I thought was really cool. I don't know. That's like the main one that's coming to mind. I don't know. What do you guys think? What are some movie tie-in games you like? Some licensed movies?
The Incredibles was really fun on PS2 and Xbox.
Oh, yeah. At first I thought you were joking, but yeah.
Disney console games in general are always pretty fun. Like Toy Story 3 was really fun too.
Yeah.
I liked Rise of the Underminer as well. That was pretty good.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. God, I can't think of any.
I have one as well.
What's that?
The Harry Potter games.
Yeah, those were fun. In fact, I was upset they stopped.
Yeah, the PS1 games are really nostalgic for me. I think Prisoner of Azkaban is probably the best one out of all of them. With good puzzles, good storylines, and I like the idea of like switching between characters.
I love the PS1 game too.
Yeah. The
even
PS1
with
games
Hagrid's
are great.
smashed face.
Yeah, oh my god.
Yeah.
So, I think those games are really...
Oh shit, we're so stupid, guys.
What?
Lord of the Rings. Those games were so good.
Yeah, those are great. Yeah.
But for the
In fact, I was really sad that those never became backwards compatible, which all it took was EA saying, yeah, you can sell that again, and then it would have been backwards. That's all that Xbox needed was, like, the approval and, like, licensing. And they said they would
maybe licensing with Warner Brothers as well, though. I think.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Warner Brothers probably, no, we don't care.
I remember going back to Harry Potter, that Quidditch game, the Harry Potter Quidditch. I know that's not.
Yes.
Yeah, that was really cool.
Yes, Quidditch World Cup. Yes.
Yeah, that game was good.
I don't know that it holds up as well today, but yeah, that's a good one.
No.
I replayed it a few years ago, and it was at least fun, but like that was also nostalgia. So I don't know.
Here's a surprising one. I remember really liking this game, Over the Hedge. That is a good game.
Oh,
wow!
It was like a beat 'em up kind of thing. That's great. It had cool mini games where like you're in a mini golf truck. I don't know. It was cool.
What wasn't fun
mini
was Shrek's Treasure Hunt.
No.
I remember playing that.
Shrek Super Slam was hilarious.
God, no. All right. And then the next question, Ranta asks, what aspects of Ultimate Alliance 3 are you most looking forward to? I don't know that I can answer this because I already have played it a lot, but what about you two?
I am excited for fast-paced, beat-em-up, like Streets of Rage, Castle Crasher type vibes, just like I got from Marvel Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 and X-Men Legends 1 and 2. And if it does even that, then I'm thrilled and excited and having the most fun ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, fair.
I'm looking forward to the storyline, personally. The storyline sounds really interesting. I know it's not going to blow me away, but like I just love like a Marvel crossover kind of thing. So like,
I'm looking forward to Wolverine's classic X-Men the animated series from the 1990s outfit.
Yeah. In terms of the story, well, we'll get into it here shortly, but the story is actually it's pretty good from what I've played.
Cool.
Cool. So let's get into what we've been playing. I haven't been able to do a ton. We finally.
You go first. Yeah, because Marvel.
Yeah, I haven't been able to do a ton just because we've still been handling Kennedy's move and all that. And then I've just been doing other stuff. Like last night I went to go see Between the Buried and Me, and they were insane. And as I mentioned before, I think I kicked someone in the head. Or what did I say? I punched somebody in the head with my foot or something.
Yeah.
It was. I don't know if anybody out there has been to a metal show before, but it is insane. Anyway, I'm really sore right now. Okay. So, yeah, I've been playing a lot of Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, The Black Order, which is a Nintendo Switch exclusive, which I don't even understand how that happened, but I'm not complaining. And, yeah, it's what you'd expect. Like, you're not going to jump into this and get this, like, mind-blowing, like, unexpected sort of gameplay. Like, yeah, it's a beat-em-up, and there's, funny writing and all these characters. So many characters, man. Like, And what's really cool about this game is the way that it introduces characters, like the pace of it. Just when you maybe start to get comfortable with your crew, it throws a new character, or several new characters at you. So you're like always motivated to keep trying them out. And yeah, you just sort of run through these levels, and there's a ton of enemies to kill, and you basically always hear your crew like talking with one another, or like you're talking to what's the guy with the eye patch? I always forget his name. Samuel L. Jackson. Nick Fury.
Nick Fury.
Yeah. And like that's like a constant theme in the game. All the characters are always talking with one another, and they're always like interacting, and
so it's the opposite of Octopath Traveler.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a great. I know you're trying to be funny, but yes, exactly. In terms of the gameplay itself, it's to me a little like shallow and repetitive, but again, you kind of know that going in. Like,
do you think that is just part of that genre, and that's how you feel about that kind of gameplay, or do you think like even among its like peers, this game is I'm just curious about that.
Both, I think. So this one, I think so far I've only put maybe like 3 hours into it or so. So far it's been particularly repetitive, but when you look at something like Diablo, which I think you can compare the two, Diablo has a lot more deeper mechanics in terms of the gameplay and like all these different items that do different things. And
okay, so even with the genre, you're saying it's a little more
but
repetitive with less depth and
right. But even Diablo at some point I get kind of sick of too in terms of its repetition. I think the thing that this game has going for it is instead of having like deep systems and like all these crazy different amount of weapons and all that to keep things fresh, instead of having that, it has the characters, right? So like just when you start to get used to your character's moveset and like you maybe start to get tired of it, they'll introduce a new character and you're like, okay, cool, there's a new character for me to try.
Okay.
So like it's kind of a trade-off. Like you get more character. Like in Diablo, they don't really have that exactly.
I have to ask this too, because I actually thought this the other day when I saw you tweet out like, hey, who's playing this weekend, which indicated to me like, oh, Joseph's getting this game. Yeah. Weird. I could be remembering it wrong, but I feel like I remember you not being very interested like at all when Chris and I were talking about like, like the MCU, like Avengers coming out and stuff like that a few months ago. So I'm just curious, do you not typically like, and I think this is good for our listeners to hear too, but also for my curiosity, are you not usually into like Marvel stuff or the Marvel movies or superhero movies, but you like these games?
Yeah, kind of. So I couldn't care less about the MCU movies, which I know is like blasphemous to say, especially this weekend.
I got chilled down my spine, dude. Jeez.
I don't know. I don't want to. That's not the point. But anyway, no, I don't.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not trying to be like, hey, bash something you don't like, but just I want to know about that distinction.
Yeah.
What? Yeah.
So I think superhero movies in general, to me, aren't very interesting, but superhero games are really cool because you get to be the superhero and it's so fun. Like you get to fly around or whatever the superpower is. But like as a movie, it just doesn't, to me, translate as well. So I think you can totally be into these games and not like the movies at all. Okay. Cool. And there are certain heroes that I actually really like. Like I like Wolverine I think is cool, and Spider-Man I think is cool, and then they're going to be bringing a lot of DLC characters in, like the Punisher, and I really like the Punisher a lot.
They're doing a couple of free characters too, if I remember.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, and even if you don't like superheroes, I think you could still enjoy this game provided you're playing with another person. That's another thing. Like, this game is really co-op centric, and I think there's a lot more enjoyment you can get out of this game when playing with a friend. And I actually haven't had a chance to try that yet, but I've played, all the other games in co-op, and yeah, it's a blast.
That you're saying that makes sense to you. You think you'd have even more fun if you played with Kennedy.
Yeah, although she doesn't like superheroes either, so I'm just like, ugh, I'm trying to find somebody to play online with. I
heard the camera's pretty bad though. When you're playing with multiple people, it's hard to see which character you're playing as or whatever.
Right.
That's why I have the game explain.
Yeah, because you're all on the same screen. You don't individually have your own.
This is exciting though. It sounds like the biggest flaws that this game has are flaws that you might already be expecting from this kind of game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that's cool.
After putting 3 hours into the game, I'm like, none of that was surprising. The issues were expected. The other thing too, I wish it was a little bit more open in terms of the structure of the levels. It's really linear, and you have a map on screen, so there's basically no opportunity for you to get lost or anything like that, or have to try to figure out. I don't know. I just wish they would have done more in terms of getting through, maybe puzzles or something else to sort of.
Right.
Offset just the fact that you're just beating up enemies all the time,
But at the same time, for me, that's a positive, because I like to play games sometimes where I just turn my brain off and just get through a game, right?
Exactly, and that's this kind of game. So if you're ever you just want to put on a podcast and just run through something. And
I was playing Diablo 3 with my brother one time, and I haven't played a lot of Diablo 3. But I had so many questions about what does this item do? What is it? I had to pause it. We had to talk for a few minutes.
Oh yeah.
And that was kind of it was hurting my enjoyment. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to play this game where we're just running around destroying shit.
Exactly. So yeah, this is great for a lot of audiences. Great for people who like Marvel movies. Great for people who like superhero games. Great for casual people. It's sort of almost like a party game in a way, because it's just so easy to jump in and just pick a character.
So this is a natural home for the Switch then, too, it sounds like. It sounds like it was good Nintendo decided to fund the game development.
Right. So one other thing I just wanted to touch on, just because I think this is funny. There's this game, Outer Wilds, that everybody's been talking about. It's on Xbox and PC. And I've really, really been wanting to play it, so I bought it on Epic Games Store. I got ready to play it, and as soon as I jumped into the game, it was unplayable because my computer couldn't run it. It's the frame rate was 2. It was comically bad. So then I'm like, okay, what can I do? So I turned down the settings, everything down to the lowest setting, jumped back into the game, and the frame rate was noticeably better. It was a 10. So I was like, okay, all right, I need a better computer. So I had to shelve that. So basically, yeah, all I got to really play this week was Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3. But yeah, I think Marvel Ultimate Alliance is fun. I'm gonna keep playing it. I think it's great. It's like junk food game. So yeah. All right, Chris, tell us about this Teppen game, because I'm so curious about it.
Okay, so I was kind of curious about it too. I'm not too much of a Capcom guy. You're not as much of a Marvel guy, a superhero guy. But I really like the gameplay of this mobile game. I was really surprised. So basically, it's a Capcom crossover card game. It's a collectible card game in the vein of Hearthstone and Elder Scrolls card game, right? But the twist with Teppen is that it's 5-minute battles, so it's super quick, super fast. You can get through multiple games quickly. And I love how fast this feels. You have to react to cards that have been laid down on the field, and basically you have to time your attacks really. You have to time your card placements with strategy in mind. So basically the whole idea is that you have 3 slots in front of you, and Yu-Gi-Oh, you have life points. So if there's an empty slot, the person that's attacking takes life points away from you, right?
Right.
And each card has its own effects. So, like, for example, it can heal the cards surrounding it, the characters surrounding it, or it can give you, the player, some health back, right? And each hero that you play has a different style to it. So I was playing as Mega Man X, or X, right? And his style is like more healing focused, and with and like your cards have different effects. So like if you start to heal one character, the others get a boost, right? So it kind of stacks, and it's really interesting to see that strategy come to play. And each kind of character, like Ryu, Wesker, Morgana, I think her name is, from Darkstalkers. They have all their different kind of decks that are colored, and they have different kind of like strategies you have to follow. So it's interesting to play. It's kind of like a fighting game in a way, because everyone has their own specific abilities and attributes. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. And the story mode's kind of interesting too. It's very basic, but like I love the art style, and I like the voice acting of the game. And it's presented in a really fantastic way, which really surprised me for a mobile title.
I'm kind of basic, and I think I have a good art style, so I think that's okay.
God damn it. But so this game, are you covering this for a site or something, or are you just playing it on?
Oh no, I was just playing it on my own. I might do a review for Rapid Reviews UK. That's what I'm thinking. So yeah, keep an eye on my Twitter page to see if I'll do a review for it or not. I'm a bit busy right now with my part-time job, but we'll see how it goes.
Cool. So what else have you been playing?
So yeah, I'm trying to figure out what to put my time into right now, as like the summer is kind of like like it's made it a bit empty, you know, like there's not many games to play right now because there's not many releases. So I've been playing Streets of Rage 2 on the Genesis collection for the first time actually, and I was surprised by it because like I don't typically play beat 'em ups because they're really basic. There's not much to do, you know, but for some reason Streets of Rage 2 got me because all the different enemies have their own specific quirks to them, or patterns that you have to fight against. I like the weapons that you pick up, like a knife or a pole, and the art style is really great actually for despite its age, right? I think it's aged really well. So yeah, like it's a really tough game too, because you have to fight against these bosses and they're tough to figure out. But yeah, like I've loved the game so far. I think I got like halfway through, and then I've only got one life left, so I probably have to go through the whole game again.
Man,
I've been having fun with Streets of Rage 2.
And there are no save states, right?
No.
Yeah.
You can make save states in the collection for PS4.
Oh, okay.
Which comes with like over 40 Genesis games, which is really cool.
Yeah.
And I'll actually talk about that a bit actually. So the Genesis collection has a lot of great features to add to your visual experience. So for me, when I was playing Streets of Rage 2, I multiplied the pixel rate by 4 times, and it looks gorgeous on my screen. So that was great.
Is that kind of like pixel perfect mode on the SNES Classic?
Kind of, yeah. But I put it to widescreen, which I know is heresy. But it looks great. It looks great with the 4 times pixel mode, which kind of like multiplies the resolution.
Whenever anybody says it's not how you're supposed to play like an old game, I'm like, I don't care.
Yeah.
This is how I want to play it.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And you can add scan lines and stuff like that, and I like
how
you
man.
can save
neat,
states.
neat.
So yeah. Like,
That's funny.
It's a great
Chris,
collection, and I think
do you have access?
Try it out.
Do you have a PSVR, or do you have access to one?
I don't, unfortunately.
Okay, so I just want to say this so that when you do have a PSVR, or if you get access to one, and for our audience, my favorite thing about this game, on PS4 is maybe you can do this at PC too. I don't know, but I know you can do this the PS4 version. You can play that in PSVR, which people might be like, okay, yeah, you can do that with non-VR games too. No, check this out. You can walk around that room where
cool.
the Genesis is, and this is the craziest fucking thing. You can sit in front of that TV and play the game on it.
Oh man, that's awesome.
I'm not even kidding. That's the craziest thing ever, and it's like just a free thing they put in the game, but it's so cool.
That's awesome.
And cool. It's so expansive with the graphic styles that you can actually make it look curved, the TV.
Oh my god.
It looks like as if you're playing a retro game like in person.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've been playing Judgment, which is the new game from the Yakuza team and Sega. I've actually surprised by the game. Like I'm interested in the storylines of these characters. It has a lot of personality to it, and I like the combat so far. It feels very visceral. I like how your character interacts with the environment, and you can pick up a bike and bloody combo from it. Like, that's pretty cool. That's pretty goddamn cool.
You can pick up basically like anything, like pots with plants in them, or like all these different things that are scattered around the world to just like beat the shit out of people with. It's so over the top. Have you gotten to any boss battles yet?
Not yet. I'm only about an hour or two in. So I haven't done that much yet.
I was playing one of the Yakuza games and there was a boss battle in it, and it was actually really complex. It was almost like a fighting game, like a 3D fighting game. So when you get to a boss battle, maybe next week you can talk about it more.
For sure. But a few games have come into my grasp recently. Assassin's Creed Odyssey. And, Devil May Cry 5. So I don't know. Maybe I'll play a bit of Judgment, but we'll see.
Yeah. So I know you had a couple other games you wanted to talk about here, but we got to move on because we're running really long. Josh, tell us what you've been playing, and then we'll close out the show.
Okay. So I'm still playing through A Plague Tale: Innocence and Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze and Dr. Mario World. Nothing new to report on them. They're all still great. I'm making steady progress. I watched The Lion King. I know this is a games podcast. I just wanted to say quickly that I really liked it. And if you're a fan of the original, you should go watch it because it's fucking awesome.
Okay.
All right. Anyway, the one thing I actually want to talk about is I've been playing the Gears 5 beta. Gears 5 tech test, what they're calling it. That's what I actually wanted to talk about. That's why I just quickly went through the other things. This is really great. It's really fun. It's fucking gorgeous. It's beautiful. It is everything I want from Gears of War. It's sharp. It's snappier and sharper and even more responsive than Gears of War was on 4 and back. And like those games were already they're improving on things that are already good and making things better. It's just I don't know. It's a very very good. The Coalition is great. They're a great developer. And for those unaware, the Coalition are people that were at Epic Games that worked on Gears of War that wanted to keep working on Gears of War when Epic went to go just become a Fortnite company. Sadly, I mean, I like Fortnite, but the same thing as Ubisoft, like with Tom Clancy, like, hey, you should do other stuff too. But it's really good. The beta's happening until Tuesday, I think. I think till Tuesday the 23rd. I think it's Tuesday. Anyway, and they're doing a second beta thing as well, I believe, in like a week or two. To play it, you either need Game Pass or just have pre-ordered the game.
Cool. So, yeah, that's great that they're giving people multiple options to get in. So
it's really cool.
So, but the test, I mean, it's online, it's versus, right? Competitive multiplayer.
Yeah, it's like Team Deathmatch, King of the Hill, and then the new mode Escalations.
Okay, and how did it work? How did it work in terms of connection? Did you run into any problems like that?
No, it's been pretty good. My first match took me like a minute or two to get in, but other than that, it was pretty just like, okay, match over, the normal kind of turnaround time, in a match. I did see people talking about connectivity issues online a little bit, but I mean it's a beta. You're gonna have some issues, but overall though, no. Just my first match took a few minutes to get into, but after that it was pretty seamless.
And will any of your progress in this carry over to the main game? Do you know?
I did remember reading that you'll get rewards and get stuff in the game when it comes out for participating.
Okay.
So that's I always get really excited when betas do that. Like Yeah, it's cool to get to play the game early, but like or a feature early or a mode early, but like give me something fun too.
Yeah,
so
cool.
Yeah.
And that's out in September, right? The full release.
Yeah, I believe September 6th, if I'm not mistaken. And then if you have Game Pass Ultimate, or if you buy the Ultimate version of the game, then you get it 4 days early. So I'm so excited. I'm still gonna buy it to support the game, but like I'm not gonna buy the Ultimate version. I'm just gonna get to play that, quote unquote, in the Game Pass Ultimate.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So cool. Yeah, that's what we've been playing. That about rounds out the episode here. Let's do some housekeeping stuff, and then we'll plug, and then we'll say goodbye. So you can find our show on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, Spotify, Google Play, YouTube. You can follow us on Twitter at ActiveQuestShow, which you definitely should do that, especially if you want to write in your questions so we can read them on each episode. You can support us on Patreon. We've got our dollar tier. You can toss us $1 if you like what we're doing. And then we have our shirts that you can buy on Teespring. There's a lot of really cool designs there, different color palettes and stuff. Thank you, Chris.
I just bought one.
Oh, did you really? Oh, man, now I have to get one. I think I might buy one.
Yeah, I gotta get one.
How does that work? Where does that money go? We just put that money right back in our pocket? Or how does that work?
A little bit. I think we make $2 or $3 from it.
Yeah. Huh, that's funny. Awesome. So, Josh, where can people find you online when you're not on ActiveQuest?
Twitter at Mr. Josh Nichols, and Twitch at twitch.tv/jerkjersh77.
Do you have anything you're going to be streaming coming up?
I am definitely going to be streaming some Gears 5 beta stuff, and I'm going back and forth on getting Wolfenstein at release, not because I don't want too much shit to play.
I forgot about that. The what is it? Cyberpilot
and Youngblood both come out on the 26th, I believe.
Shit.
Which I think is the same day that Fire Emblem comes out.
Oh, yeah, that's why I'm saying shit.
And I'm also not getting Fire Emblem at release. Now, again, I love Fire Emblem. It's going to be fucking awesome, but like I just have too much to play.
Oh, man.
I can't keep up.
God.
And honestly, everybody always says because of work, but like no, even if I didn't work, there's no way.
Oh, yeah.
I just couldn't. There's just too much to play.
You just blew my mind reminding me about Wolfenstein.
You have two huge games and one pretty big game, the VR one, coming out in 5 days. Yeah, you're welcome.
Great. Cool. So now that I know my wallet is going to be in tears, Chris, where can people find you when you're not on ActiveQuest?
So you can find me at Penwell Writes on Twitter. I'm not writing much right now, unfortunately, but I'll get around to it eventually as I get used to my new part-time job.
Yeah, I feel you, man.
Yeah, on Twitch, you can find me on Twitch at Down Up Destiny. I'll be doing some Extra Life stuff, I'm sure, soon. You can check out my Extra Life page as well. I'll probably include a link to that on the description from now on.
Cool.
So yeah, and also I'm still working on that interview series with game characters. First one's going to be Sora. Second one I think is going to be Kratos. So
awesome.
Look out for that.
Yeah, that just takes a while getting the VO and everything edited and stuff.
Yeah, I've got all the VO ready. I just got to do my own VO, and then it should be good to go.
Awesome. Cool. And then with me, you can find me on Twitter at Joseph Yaden. And on PlayStation Lifestyle covering news. Don't really have anything yet, but you'll definitely hear my thoughts on Fire Emblem, and I guess Wolfenstein Youngblood now. I totally forgot about that. On next week's show, I'll try to make sure I can get through some of that next weekend.
Wolfenstein, for you and our listeners, Wolfenstein Youngblood's like $30 too, so that's really
cool. It's a budget title, so yeah, because it's shorter. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. Awesome. All right, so that's been episode 30 of ActiveQuest. Thank you everybody so much for listening. You guys have been awesome, and yeah, we'll see you next week for episode 31. Take care.